Yes.
Okay, everybody, this particular area that we're looking at with the giant statue of the Chinese emperor, this is actually the conservatory. Vicky's going to pan up slightly, and you're going to see this simulated French Nouveau style of simulated wrought iron. It's obviously new production. It is meant to resemble turn of the 19th century style French cast iron skylight work. Very similar to what we have in Detroit on the Bellagio Conservatory. It's in that same vein of construction style and method, but it's all new production. So it's very nice. I've seen some that are done well and some that are done poorly, but this one is done very well to simulate the old style. Now, as Vicki had mentioned, we have this space. The theme changes 5 times a year, and this year, right now, of course, it's the Chinese New Year and the Year of the Rabbit. Now, you can see the main strip through here is several different kinds of mums and other real growing flowers. These are, believe it or not, in a series of pots. When we spoke to the landscape manager, he told us that they are, believe it or not, all hand watered except for the bamboo trees. Those are on an irrigation system. There is an assembly underneath all of these to catch any water runoff that's collected down below in the level below us and then brought back up to re-irrigate. Now in this space, they have the large representation of the Chinese emperor. They have these large Chinese coins that he's standing on. We have these 2 large pots that Vicki just panned by one. They're giant incense burners, so they burn incense. We're going to walk up the aisle to see the outer perimeter. We'll go this way. You can see here the large bamboo trees that are real, that are irrigated with a system instead of by hand.
And remember, he said they had to water those about 3 or 5 times a day.
Because they soak up
because
so
they
much
soak
water.
up so much water.
So what I'm going to have Vicki do is pan slightly this way. You can see the giant rabbit for Year of the Rabbit with her little babies. Now the mama rabbit is actually, keep the rabbit on one side of me. How's that?
Good.
So the mama rabbit, as well as her babies, are actually covered with 5 different types of living plants that they also have to irrigate by hand to keep it alive. But it's amazing that this is just a temporary site. So the landscape manager told us that although they change it, this space may be called a conservatory, but it's not actually conserving anything. It only conserves everything that's in it for the 5 different times of the year. So it's kind of a misnomer, just a little bit, but at the same time, it's keeping in the spirit of the conservatory and landscape architects such as Frank Lloyd Wright, who believed Bellagio, Grand Central, or Central Park in New York, and the green belts of Chicago were meant to be a living tapestry that could not fully be enjoyed for at least 50 years. So in that same vein, what they're doing at the Bellagio's conservatory is a living tapestry that, although it's conserved for a short period of time, it does promote respect for the green environment. So this is just a very great example of what they're capable of accomplishing here. Again, all of these plants that you see are all potted. And the landscapers that work for the manager will go in and make sure that everything is still living. If something has died, they will pull it and put a new one in.
And excuse me for just a slight interruption, but when I was panning before, you couldn't really see the babies well because they're lying on their back like this one.
Or playing.
Or playing. This one is another bunny now that you're seeing a little bit better, a baby bunny. And then, of course, the mama bunny.
Right. There's basically 8 babies, and they're all interspersed throughout this wonderful landscaping that you see here. And you can also see that the different Chinese themes of lanterns and bridges. And as I walk down here, you can see behind me, they actually have simulated not only the bridge that you saw earlier, but you can see that they have simulated a Chinese junk, a merchant vessel, as well as a small lagoon just behind me. So Vicki will pan back to me, and then slightly over you will see this large representation of a traditional Chinese junk that is actually sitting in a small confined body of water, which is just amazing that they were able to bring this in and set it up in such a manner. So
Luke, do you mind if I take a close look at the gold coins that surround the emperor?
Yes.
Trying to get a good view.
No, what
of
are you
that.
doing? This is video. This isn't regular camera. You just got to pan
Okay.
upward. So people have just become nauseated.
Sorry everybody. There you go. There's a full view of the emperor and a good look at the gold coins that surround him in the flower bed.
So we're going to look over here now.
Okay.
You can see that they have, back up a little bit. You can see over here they actually have full-size replicas of the terracotta warriors of China. Basically they have 4 soldiers and 2 officers, and then if Vicki walks sideways and then pans back, you can see that it's a 4-horse drawn cart with another character which could be an officer or an emperor image in the cart itself, but this one actually has spinning wheels on it.
Well, let's go get a better look at that junk, Luke. I think that's quite spectacular, and then we'll go for a closer in view of the warriors. And then we'll leave you for a minute as we continue on to the next area. Oh, wow. That's really spectacular, isn't it, honey?
So what we have here is the junk like we were talking about, and this body of water actually has koi in it. And they're swimming around. There's probably about 2 or 3 dozen in there, a variety of styles, colors, and markings. But you can see that they've really gone out of their way to make this a very lovely experience of the natural environment completely indoors. This is what the original intent of conservatories were in the 19th century, but this is a phenomenal adaptation to the 21st century. You can see that there's a little simulated shrine here, as well as the several red lanterns that are hanging interspersed from the ceiling.
Honey, why don't you get in the view of the shrine? And that'd be great.
How's this?
That's fabulous.
So again, I'm not 100% sure how the junk and the shrine were constructed. If they just simply had these built and they store them, which is a possibility considering that every year there is a new Chinese New Year. So maybe this is a reoccurring theme. And if so, it would make sense to store all of these pieces on site and then trot them out every year with a different floral arrangement. Now, if Vicki will follow me and we pan slightly this way, the only element that seems to be a permanent fixture is not just the footprint that we see that all the planting beds are, but also this translucent, what looks like perhaps quartz or maybe thin-cut marble obelisk, which is illuminated from the inside at the 4 spheres as well as the obelisk itself. So this is a permanent fixture here, but everything else seems to be just temporary, changing as the theme changes each year.
This is the back of the emperor now that you're seeing. And again, the ceiling panning too. And that was right across from the junk and the pagoda. Do you want to walk over to the warriors, honey?
Well, yeah.
Because I didn't get a good shot of the
horse
cart.
cart.
Yeah.
Well, here is the simulated terracotta team of horses and cart, sitting, as you can see, in a field of red. This is Rome Liliad, whatever. I'm not too good on plant names, but the placard says Rome Liliad as the plant. So you can see they have really thought about, just like the early landscape architects, the great parks builders, they thought about the color when the plants would mature to judge by different size, colors, and overall composition to really pick their colors properly.
And I'm going to have Luke step behind the camera for just a second because I want to make sure of something. I think I see the word, is that off that I'm seeing, or CASF or something?
See the red light?
Yeah.
That red light means it's recording.
Okay, I didn't know the...
This is just some feature that's turned off.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Sorry about that, folks. I
That's
just
okay.
didn't want to...
No, don't stop.
Okay,
Apologize.
so at any rate, here's a close-up look at the horses and the emperor riding in the carriage, or the warrior riding in the carriage. And then,
I do know that sometimes the top knots on the different people represent different things. I'm pretty certain that the kneeling warriors are in fact warriors. The ones that are standing with the different headdresses and armor, perhaps one of the ones standing is also a standing soldier, but the one to the left definitely is somebody of different prominence. Now, what's very unique is I just read the placard on the warriors and for the cart as well. These simulated terracotta warriors are actually covered in thousands of carrot seeds that have an orange hue to them. They were placed on here to simulate the look of terracotta and still be in keeping with their concept of everything being alive in one way or another.
and here you can see, which I couldn't see before myself, I don't know if the wheel is actually spinning on the chariot. And you can see that. Okay, folks, we'll sign off for now to conserve a little bit of our battery and take it up in the next viewing area.